Welcome to Rangers Radio on the Matchday show, the world's one and only unique live phone-in show for Rangers supporters all over the world. Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
And breathe. Welcome back, Bears. Welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining us back on the show is our very own Port Bear. Port, how are we, mate? Have you come down from the ceiling yet?
All I'll say is, mate, we'll take that. We'll take that. You know, backs to the wall. We knew how good they were. You know, we bigged up Atletico Madrid, in my opinion. Before we started the first part of the show, we bigged up the Williams brothers. We bigged up Sunset. You know, we said they would be solid. They would be attacking. But I don't think Liam Kelly had too much today, mate. I thought the team as a whole defended very well. I thought it was a great team performance tonight.
It was, mate. We'll dive into obviously the main talking points in a wee minute, but I just want to say that we asked for character and hard work and performance, and you just can't get your head around them sometimes, Port. But like, where was that against Hibs? See, if we had that kind of hard work and performance against Hibs, it would have been a total different outcome. But the other night, like you say, the VAR wasn't our pal the night as well, Port, I felt, and I think we handled it and we got the result we wanted in a sense because we were down to the 10 men for that length of time, mate. And that leads us on to the big kind of talking point, which is the red card, mate. How do you feel about it?
Right. I understand. Sometimes I think commentators got too much to say, mate. You know, I watched on TNT Sports with McCoist and that other boy. I'm going to look at it from Port Bear's point of view, and I'm going to say it was pretty. I thought it was harsh, mate. Now, Robin Propper, granted, makes a mistake, plays a shocking pass into midfield, and it ends up coming right back to him very quickly because they break on us, and then he finds Williams goal side him. So he makes a challenge, mate. Rash challenge. Now, Fridban's back quicker, you know, or Stallings back quicker. He doesn't get. They probably tuck in far enough round, and Robin Propper is the last man, basically. But because he's last man, mate, he left a decision to be made by VAR, and they've picked up on it. The only thing I didn't like was McCoist. I was like, but letter of the law. It's you know, I still think it was harsh, mate. It was, you know, I've seen these challenges 1,000 times, and you know, especially early in the game, the ref usually just, you know, lets it, you know, go and plays on because I nearly foul. So for that, in that sense, it was harsh. But I understand what McCoy was saying. You know, by the letter of the law, he has to be sent off. Now, the other weird thing about that, though, you heard the commentator saying it as well. Now, if that's inside the box and the penalty's given, Propper stays on the pitch. So there's where the rules are absolutely shocking, mate. So if that's inside the box and the penalty's given, Robin Propper doesn't get sent off. What's the difference between out the box, Gary, and inside the box? I don't get that rule. I don't get it, mate.
Mm-hmm. It's still last. It's still last man, isn't it? On the flip side of that, Port, is you could say that Propper done as a turn with Stokeman because as much as like you don't want Propper doing any challenges, but the way the game played out, that boy could have broke and scored, and that would have been named 1-0. You know what I mean? And I think if that was Dessers, I'd probably be screaming for the penalty, mate, and I'd probably be screaming for the red card and all that as well on VAR, because VAR does make it look worse when they slowed it down and all that. It looks as though that's the thing about VAR. They're slowing it down. They need to play it in real time. It looks as though Robin Propper, when Balogun misses him, it's like Robin Propper is shown as if he's like, oh well, I'm just going to snap you now, kind of thing. It was a clumsy challenge, but I think I agree with you, mate. In other games I've seen them kind of, right, it's a yellow card, that's your final warning, and the game plays out. And I think for both teams, mate, I think for Bilbao, their game plan went out the window at that point as well, because we just like kind of, I would say we shut up shop a bit. and it probably stifled them for what they were trying to do tonight.
I've been in a situation before, mate, where I've played against 10 men, and I've also been on a team where I've been down to 10 men. And you know, strangely, and people might say it's an old cliche, but believe it or not, mate, it's harder to play against 10 men sometimes because everybody realises they've got to get stuck in. And I think that's exactly what happened with Rangers tonight. It was almost like a wee blessing in disguise. You know, right, Robin's taking one for the team. As I said, probably didn't think he was going to get centre half because so early in the game, he makes that, you know, a foul. Probably thinks a booking's coming, which he'll accept, you know. But playing against 10 men, mate, sometimes is an absolute nightmare because you get the whole team, they feel aggrieved, they feel, you know, wronged, and they're like, you know, right, let's get stuck in. We've got to play as a unit here, defensively, and the midfield's got to do their job, and then whoever's playing up top has got to, you know, drop in at times. And then also, when we're getting a wee break, he's got to make the ball stick. And that was one of my wee criticisms with Dessers tonight. He could have been taking a lot more pressure off of the midfield and defence, mate. So, you know, with holding the ball up and making it stick at times, I just felt he was just getting a wee bit, you know, bullied at times, caught on his heels, and not giving the defence and midfield a break with holding the ball, mate. But fair play to defence and midfield for digging in like that, mate, and showing, you know, grit, passion, throwing their body in the line, mate. All things we've questioned about this team, and we've not seen enough of it.
I agree, mate. That what he says, Barry asked for character and stuff like that, and it would have been easy for them on the form that they had been in, just to down tools after that. I mean, just to have the poor me attitude, and then they would have just ran out of tappers. But like you says, mate, they rolled up the sleeves. And as we look at the first half, they had chances. I mean, Kelly again in that first half. I know we'll go into the second half with how the outcome was with his penalty and all that, but as the first half, as a team, Kelly had some good saves. I felt like it says Ridvan, Tav as well were cutting at the balls. Balogun, brilliant. Sterling, I felt had a good first half as well, mate. So again, you can't really criticise too much, mate. It's a hard game when you're having to sit in like they were doing in that first half, and like you say, you're just looking for the kind of moments to break up the park, and be smart with it, mate.
Aye.
But I think probably the first half, the main talking points, mate, for me was, like I says, with the red card, and then Kelly's kind of save near the end of the first half.
Aye. That probably was the main talking points. But you know, I done a few wee notes, mate. Also, the 22nd minute, obviously we realised set pieces were going to be, you know, pretty important after proper get sent off. So any corners we got, or free kicks about the box, or throw-ins anywhere near the box, we had to make them count. That was probably our most realistic chance, you know, of getting a goal. You know what I mean? And if you remember the 22nd minute, with that ball for Tav for the right to the back post, something obviously worked on, and Raskin gets it back across. So he does it back across, you know, and Dessers turns on the edge of the box and just fires past the post. You know, I was unlucky, mate. That was pretty close with Dessers, and you know, again, great bit of technique, turn and hits him with his left. He put his poorer foot, hits him with his left foot, and just goes past the post. So that after that, I felt, you know, right, set pieces, we could still hurt them, because I don't think they looked the greatest when the ball was getting into the box at all, mate. I really didn't.
I'm glad you brought up the one with Dessers. I forgot about that. He was very unlucky with that one. It was it was like one of his kind of Man United moment when he rattled it, and just an inch either side, he was getting the goal, mate. And I know you said about Dessers holding up the ball the night, mate, but he did get fouls for us at times the night, and I did feel as though he did put in a shift for us again, mate.
Aye, that I said it in the first half of the show, mate. That has never been in doubt. You know, in my mind, the Dessers, he always turns up for his work. He always gives his all. It's just at times, mate, when we wanted to leave a bit of pressure, that ball's it's got to stick, mate. It's got to stick when it's going up to him. Because what happens is if Czerny's trying to get close to him, or Hadji's trying to get close to him, or somebody's breaking midfield to get close to him, they're trying to get, you know, 1-2s with him. They're trying to get a bit of, you know, flicks off him, whatever he's trying to do and get the ball. But that wasn't happening either, mate. That wasn't happening either. We got a caller in, mate.
Aye, sorry. I think we've joined with Josh. Josh, there's a lot of background noise, mate.
Yeah, sorry. I was just, going into my, conservatory to have a bit of peace talking to you.
Yeah, so, mate, how's things?
Yeah, Sal, mate, are you?
I, mate, pleasantly surprised how the team performed, considering we went into the 10 men, mate. So I'll take it, mate. We're still in the tie, and this is a hard-working performance.
Yeah, they were defensively disciplined, organised, committed, patient, resilient. I've got all those words written down. The early red card could have really killed the tie, but, credit to the lads for the hunger and appetite, the work rate, the stickability to limit the danger. Kelly, remarkable. Big call from Barry, that, wasn't it? A really mature, top-level managerial decision to leave out Butland, because last time I was on the show, I was sort of waxing lyrical about Jack for his European performance, but I think the sort of week-to-week league form hasn't been of the adequate standard. And I think this was an opportunity for Barry to sort of say, well, actually, there's players that have been waiting patiently for the opportunity, and what better occasion to give them that chance at Ibrox in such a massive game against top-level opposition.
Aye, Port, we kind of touched on that wee bit early doors with the first half there with Kelly. Kelly kept us in it with a great save, and then it kind of carried on at the second half. One thing I noticed about Kelly the night was he seemed to talk really well to the defence. They all seemed like, as a unit, he was brave to come out and grab the ball. He was doing that wee bit of the time wasting thing as well, saying he had a wee sore elbow and all that carry on. So I don't know, he was a wee bit more streetwise than Butland for me the night, Port, if that's fair to say.
I think he's just been clever, mate. I think he's been cute. I think, knowing, we're down to 10 men, everyone's against us, it's not went well, Protter's been sent off. So basically, I think he's just been cute and playing the old pros game, mate. He's just trying to waste a bit of time. As I said, he's touched on it earlier on, in the 39th minute, especially when he makes that double save. So he saves the shot. And then for the corner for the very save, again, he leaps to his left for Sanset's header, and again, hods onto the ball, doesn't, palm it through the post, doesn't parry it out. He keeps a hold of the ball, mate, and then smothers it. And then, as I said, takes his time getting up and, plays the old pros game, mate. I always talk about on here, the dark arts of the game, just, wind the clock down, get into half time 0-0, and then we reset and we go again. I think it was great, mate. It was great to see. He's a pro, though. He's an experienced pro, mate. This is what we expect for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really
by the way, what we'll say is just 2 minutes, Josh. What I would say is just to add to that is Jack Butland was the first one to walk up to Kelly after the game and congratulate him. So again, good team mentality there. That's, like I says, don't spit the dummy. It's all about the team. So good to see that as well. Sorry, Josh, mate, when you come in, mate.
Yeah, I just want to say, the lack of a concussion substitution, disgusting from UEFA. They talk about player protection and player welfare there. You got, like, young Bailey Rice ran into someone's shoulder. He has to be carted off the field. And then Rangers end up going down to 9 men later on in the game because they haven't got a substitution to replace Sterling. That could have been really costly, boys. Like, this is going off on a tangent, a bit political. But, they bang on all the time, don't they, the governing bodies, about player protection. They're playing too many games. You need to wrap the players in cotton wool. And then when it comes down to something like that, they just wash their hands of it. And then, these VAR checks as well, they're taking so long. Like, was it offside? Was it handball? There was loads of mitigating factors in there. The fans are getting frustrated. Like, half the crowd didn't know what was going on. Like of me watching at home knew what was going on by virtue of the commentary from Alan McCoist. But, a lot of people inside that stadium, the frustration's building. You've got 12 minutes added time at the end of the game. And yeah, a lot of it was, down to Bailey Rice's injury, but a lot of it was down to messing about with buttons at VAR, looking at things like a handball where like someone's facing, away from the play. Like, yes, his arm comes out, but it's natural. Like, he's trying to head the ball, for God's sake, boys. So, just sort of going off on a tangent a little bit, but that builds frustration for me. It's one of the top level European competitions, and you expect the best standards, and I don't think we've ultimately seen that tonight, really, on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Aye, well said, mate. Well said. No, you're right. And like he said, best wishes to Bailey. Hope everything, like I says, is all right. I heard in the commentary that he was sitting up and stuff like that. So good news to hear. By the way, the phone lines are open. If you didn't know, it's 0141 356 1972, and we've been joined with our next caller, which is David. David, how are you doing, mate?
How's it going, lads?
All right, Davey.
Aye, all good. Josh is in the call as well, mate. David?
Hear us?
I hear you now, mate. I carry on, mate.
I think that's a top performance Saturday night. I really do. I mean, you're going down to 10 men after that amount of time. And I've got to be honest with you, I wasn't overly impressed with Bilbao. I thought it'd been a right toughie night. But I just thought Rangers were so organised tonight. And it's another one of these games where, and people can say what they want. I said before the game, I would have actually been happy with a draw. And it sounds kind of daft, that, but I'd have been quite happy with a draw. Because Suter was out and Dio was out. And, going out to Spain and playing the counter. Because we're very, very good at that. It doesn't matter who we play. We're very good in the counter attack away from him. But once you go down to 10 men, you think, oh, God, it's a bit of a sickener. But I've got to say, they players were, to a man tonight, they gave everything. And did Bilbao really put us under that much pressure? I mean, I'm not overly convinced they did. And I just think it was a real proper European performance for Rangers again. And do not rule Rangers out going out here and batter them on the break in Spain. And I don't care what MD says. I don't care all the players have got. Rangers have done it time and time and time and time again against all these sides. That's a top performance for Rangers tonight, and I'm delighted with the draw. So, really, really proud of Rangers tonight. Again, because we did it time again, didn't we?
Aye. Well said, David. Josh, the point about how we dug in tonight, are you surprised that Rangers actually had that in them, considering the way we've been playing recently?
Well, no, because you look at the European displays, you look at the Old Firm games, when there's a sort of massive carrot dangled, this Rangers team can raise the performance. When it's the week in, week out stuff, we've seen it throughout the season from a Rangers perspective. They haven't been able to do it in the consistent games, the games where they're going in favourites and fancied in, games like probably the Hibs game, even though Hibs are in top form at the moment. You'd still have thought Rangers would have beat them at home. Then, look at tonight's game, I was quietly confident that Rangers should at least put a performance in. But when they went down to 10 men after 12 minutes, you're ultimately up against it. You've got to change sort of the whole outlook of the game. And it was very much backs against the wall. But yes, I agree with the previous caller there. They didn't really cause you too many problems. Yes, they had one big opportunity, and obviously the penalty, which was saved. But apart from that, they looked really comfortable, Rangers, and it wasn't 11 men behind the ball all the time either. Like Dessus was winning fouls, he was getting us up the pitch. He had a header himself in the first half. So, in the week in, week out stuff, there's a massive still red flag there for me. But I think Barry, since he's come in, for whatever reason it is, when you get these big games at Ibrox, the big atmosphere, and you're sort of the underdogs in games, something about this Rangers side can raise the game, boys, can't it? But, the challenge now is next season, whether it's Barry, whether it'll probably be somebody else, but can they get that performance out of them on a week-to-week basis? Because that's what's going to close the gap on Celtic, isn't it, ultimately?
Mm-hmm. I questioned that the night when it started. That how can we have that tonight and we didn't have that at the weekend? I mean, it was a sloppy shoulders at the weekend. But we've been joined with another caller, which is we've been joined with our beach correspondent, Denver. How we doing, mate?
If we only had the Rangers over here. How you doing, guys?
Welcome back, mate. Welcome back.
George and David. Aye, yeah, that was the ultimate. That was a Rangers performance, wasn't it? That's the opposite to what we watched at the weekend, wasn't it? I mean, the bottom line here is that was, if ever there was a game that showed up clear your effing lines, that was it. Wasn't it? It was just top of the range stuff, man. Great.
Mm-hmm. David, one of the players that did. David, one of the players that did show up and clear the lines was Hadji tonight. He was he was loving that fight and that dig tonight. And even when he gets substituted, he had these kind of horns up in the air as if to say, "Why you take me off?" But in the cold light today, he needs to understand you need to be available for the weekend for Barry. It wasn't anything that he had a bad performance. It was just that he'd worked his backside off all night.
Listen, I've got to say, I've not been a Hadji lover, to be honest, through the years. And I've kind of gave him a bit of stick on here. And at times, Hadji, I thought, was a better player the more he was out. I just thought he fell out of games too much and wasn't influencing the game enough for me. But the guy for Rangers review this morning, he put up his team sheet, predicted lineup, and he'd Hadji in the middle. And my words were, well, Hadji will need to work his backside off. And I've got to say, hold my hands up right now, Hadji worked his backside off tonight. Every one of the players worked their backside off. This is what it is. You know, European performances, you don't have to just... My opinion, at the start of the game, I would have taken a draw. The big Suter been out and Dio been out and going over there and hitting them in the counter. The Rangers can do that to anybody earlier, but just stay in the tie. But when you get down to that, it's all a bit like shape and everything. I just seen every time they came forward, I just thought Rangers looked really, really a lovely shape about them, and they just looked. I don't think they were overly. It sounds daft, but I don't actually think they were overly looked in real serious bother at any point. And there was one or two times I thought maybe nick one ourselves here. But aye, Hadji worked his socks off tonight. I've got to say that. Every one of the players did. I was really impressed with Tavernier the night as well, by the way. I know he gets a hard time at times, but I was really impressed with Tavernier. Really impressed with him. He's up against a right good player there. And Tavernier's, I mean, people put Tavernier down time and time again. You know, he's got his faults, Tavernier, but I thought that was a real proper captain's performance tonight. And I was really impressed with every one of the players. I don't really think there was anybody in the park. If one thing I always say, you know, I'm no Desser's biggest fan, and I thought at one point I said, Dessers, come on, get us up the park here. Hold this spot up here. We need to get up the park. So I was crying for Igaman to come on. But Dessers at times and always doing superb. I can't. I've not got any faults in it. Just so proud of Rangers again tonight. But it's European again, innit? And don't rule Rangers out getting out there and knocking that crowd out. They were 130 to win the Europa League. They're the favourites to win the Europa League. And Rangers looked more than comfortable. And we were at 9 men, by the way, for about 10 minutes. You know,
aye, Port, you touched on that as well, didn't you? Saying that we ran into that 9 men as well because of Sterling and stuff. And as Josh mentioned as well, we really should have had an extra substitution considering what happened to Rice.
I totally agree with Josh's opinion on the concussion substitution, mate. You know, the least you expect for your top football and, you know, governance would be the same rules apply when somebody gets a head knock as bad as young Bailey Rice got. Clearly the boy was out of game. 12 minutes extra time was added because of it. You know, so it's shocking. It's Josh touched on player welfare, especially when he'd injuries, when we're getting all these things about motor neurons, and they're even talking about outlawing heading the ball and all that carry on in football. Sure, that was even discussed a way back. You know what I mean? So no, that was shocking, mate. That we should have been allowed to bring on, for talk's sake, when Stephen Half bring on Enciala. So back to 10 men. It was all conspiring against us, mate. But what they've done is tonight with that performance, they've given us something. David's right as well. They've given us something to fight for over in Bilbao, and you know, don't be surprised, like David says, that we're going to get through here, mate.
Did you say a red kid?
2 minutes, David. 2 minutes, David. Sorry. Josh, the good thing about the result tonight and the hard working performance, I would imagine that's put doubt in Bilbao's head.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, for the fans that have planned to go over there next week, it gives them the carrot dangled as well, you know, to go and enjoy the experience. And hopefully, if they put in a similar level of application to tonight, you know, and really limit the opportunities for Bilbao, you know, there's every chance that, you know, Rangers can get the first goal and put that big seeded out into the mind as well. But, you know, staying the tie was spot on sentiment there. It was important they didn't come away with a defeat tonight, going to such a tough place next week, and more so for the fans as well. They've been thoroughly enjoying this experience. Hope everyone goes out there and behaves themselves and, enjoys it in the right fashion next week. Really put Scottish football on the map, because, it does get mocked down here by fans of the English Premiership and even lower level English football. They don't really see what positive Scottish football offers, but it's these European games that really put it on the map. And I think tonight was yet another example of that. I remember the 2022 run when he got to the final. Similar hallmarks to this, like the team bought into the philosophy of the manager, really bought into, everything. Whether they've got players missing, whether they've got sendings off and backs against the wall style of football's needed. Like the iBox crowd were brilliant as well. Like they stuck with them right from minute 1 to minute 90. Like the atmosphere didn't drop, did it? So let's hope next week now, as I keep banging on about it, it's about the experience for those fans who go week in, week out, and they've seen some really abject league performances, being knocked out by Queen's Park in the Scottish Cup, really un-Rangers-like things. So let's hope it all culminates next week in a massive result, boys. That's what I've sort of got me sort of eggs in, really. Is that for you lot?
Mm-hmm. Aye, mate. And just on David's point, what did you feel about the red card, mate?
Well, the ref gave a yellow card on the field, didn't he? And it still took a good few minutes for him to realise that it could have been a goal-scoring opportunity, could have been this and that. Yeah, proper dives in. It's a bit of a daft challenge in essence. But, Ali was saying on the telly that he thought it was quite ludicrous because had it been a penalty, it wouldn't have been a red card, Ali says, because they don't do double punishments. It's either a penalty or a red card. Ali, who's played for Rangers, was quite passionate about it as well. And I'm inclined to go with someone who's played the game, boys, with that. So that's someone who's played at the highest level, giving that insight. For me, on first look, I thought, it's a bad challenge, yeah, possibly a yellow. But then as they were delving further into it, they showed the camera angles that backed it up, their decision. But, there were still players covering, weren't there? Yes, he might have got a shot away, but then Yilmaz was covering as well, wasn't he? So it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Some refs would give it, some refs wouldn't. And I find with these European refs, they're finicky, aren't they? They sort of look for these nitty-gritty, small details within decisions, and that's what holds your game up. You get an added time after added time. I mean, I know I banged on earlier about this, but it's something that really gets me going. I mean, like, I was sat there bored, fellas, for long spells of that game. Like, from your point of view, great. Fantastic result for Rangers. We can't argue with that. That's what we wanted. But the game was stop-start, slow, turgid at times. And you're thinking, like, this is a quarter-final of a major European tournament. Let's try and speed the game up. Like, where VAR doesn't really need to get involved, just play on. If it's taking 2, 3, 4 minutes to make a decision, that to me means there's still doubt about it. So just go with the on-field referee, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm. Aye, I'll come back round to that, mate, on the whole penalty thing. That was an absolute farce. Denver, your thoughts on the red card? For me, I think Proper ended up doing as a blessing in disguise, because I think if the boy got away, he would have buried the chance that he was trying to create.
I thought it was a yellow card when I saw it initially. But once you saw the replays, as Josh says, it was a red card all the way, But it was weird here. We were 6 minutes behind the time scale, and the game was finished, and I still had 6 minutes of injury time to watch. My boy had texted me and he said, Kelly had saved a penalty, and it was like 6 minutes before that. I was still watching the game. I had no idea what was going on. So it was like watching for results on teletext in the old days, just nuts.
Yeah, I bet you were shouting at your boy. I bet you were shouting at your boy for telling you what was happening. You got a chance to see it.
I was between texting him and watching it on the updates on BBC and the CBS news feed. The game was on 6 minutes behind. Oh man, I was going nuts. I was looking for the final whistle, and then my boy texted me and he said, "That's it, it's all there." And we still had 6 minutes. I didn't even know Big Sterling got stretchered off, and my boy said, "Oh, the game's finished there." I probably just need to pay my bill, GB,
Aye. Well, you're getting running commentary for across the pond, mate. So that's good as well. But aye, lads, if you just get yourselves on mute for 2 minutes, because we've got a wee tiny interview for Barry Ferguson. It would be good to hear what his thoughts were. What happened tonight, mate.
Be so pleased with the character and the fighting spirit from your players tonight.
Yeah, that's a lot more like it. That's what I expect from my group of players. And that's a proper Rangers performance. At times it wasn't pretty. It's difficult when you go down to 10 men against a very good team, but I thought individually and collectively they fought for one another, and I'm sure the fans in the stands appreciated that.
Yeah, it shows the defensive resilience, as you say, to hold a very good athletic team to very little with 10 men. Yeah,
that's been an issue, conceding goals, really soft goals at times, but I thought the defenders put their bodies on the line, and that's what I expect. But it just wasn't the defenders, I thought, into the midfield and up top. Everybody worked for one another, and when you get that, you tend to get positive results. And then when you've got 3, 4 or 5 that aren't prepared to do that, like it was at the weekend, then you suffer. But listen, I've got to give the boys credit, especially playing 80 minutes plus, 12 minutes added on. They put a lot of effort into it, and also going down to 9 men with Duge. So yeah, overall really positive. It's half time. We just need to see how everybody recovers now, because there's a few that are really struggling. But listen, I said to them, that's what I expect now going forward.
Yeah, and that moment from Liam Kelly as well, it could be very vital coming in with these 2 legs.
Yeah, I watched it back, and look, it did connect with Duge's hand, there's no doubt about that, but he wasn't looking at it. But listen, the referee gave a penalty, and listen, Kel stepped up with a brilliant save, so delighted for him.
We often speak about this Ibrox crowd, they often push the players over the line, but they really kept the team in the game tonight, didn't they?
Brilliant. So noisy from minute 1 right until the very end. They drove the team on. They could see the team were getting tired at stages, but they kept with them. And certainly, listen, since I've come through the door, the fans, even with a couple of tough results, the fans have always stuck behind us, and I thought tonight they were just immense.
You mentioned there a couple of injuries, obviously Bailey going off, Dujon going off. Do you have an early update on any of them?
Well, Bailey got a knock in the back of his neck. He's fine now. He's sitting, talking and going on about his teammates. And Duge, listen, we just need to wait and see with Duge. He'll go for a scan tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and just looking ahead to next week, it's all to play for now in Bilbao, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to next Thursday. I'm looking forward to Sunday. That's now my concern, and seeing how many bodies I've got to travel up to Aberdeen. But they put a lot of work in. They'll go home, they'll rest, and we'll get in tomorrow and see what kind of the numbers are going to be like for the weekend.
Yeah, well said, Barry. And let's say phone lines are open: 0141 356 1972. David, one thing Barry picked up on was the songbook for the fans tonight. You happy with that, mate?
Oh, you better believe it. But I just want to say as well, I heard Denver, they're talking about his son, and that's class. That's what it's all about. And sorry, I don't know the guy's name, the English boy that's on the new. Josh. Josh, apologise, I don't know the guy's name. Josh, fantastic points as well, pal. You're bang on, mate. That's what it's all about. You know, Denver's going on there about his son, phoning him. I mean, I lost my dad 2 years ago to cancer, you know, biggest blue nose you've ever met in your life. And you just want to celebrate with your father or, you know, people that care about the club. So they kind of things, they all stick in the memory. These kind of results. And we're kind of, we're at a stage now that we're almost getting to a stage where you're going, it's almost like expected. I mean, that's a European quarter final. Some people don't actually understand just how big that is. It's a huge achievement again with Rangers. We're up against the right top side. Barry was right there. The fans were absolutely terrific, man. I mean, that Rangers crowd, with about 20 minutes to go, they just drove them on. But it also, I thought they were very, very well set up. And you know what? had a wee sneaking suspicion that we might have caught them on the break. You know, I don't know, I just had a feeling about it. But we didn't. But overall, just so proud, delighted. How can you not be proud with that? You know, it's just, and this is all we want with Rangers. You know, we're looking at us getting dropping points against Motherwells and St Mirren's and the rest of them. We should be battering them. You know, this is what we want, consistency. This is a Rangers side that are good enough to. This Rangers side are good enough to win the league in Scotland. No bother. There's no question of that. There is no question Rangers can win that league in Scotland. But they players right now, and I know people say no, they can't. You need to, you know, obviously you want to improve the squad, but Rangers have got a right top squad, and it kind of baffles you at times. But you need to enjoy these moments, don't you? So we've got a result here again, and just very, very proud of Rangers. Really, really proud.
Port, just to pick up on one of David's points there about the catching them on the break, that chance with Barn, wasn't it? Barn done so well to start the move, and then he gets the ball back and tries to get it to Tierney and just blasts it to the part. And it's just the youngness sometimes. He's just, that's the bit of his game he's got to improve on. If he passes that nicely to Tierney, I think Tierney's in with a wee chance there.
Aye, it's definitely not part of Barron's game, that, mate. That's part of his development going forward. We recognise Barnes a bit of a terror in midfield. He'll crunch into tackles, he'll win the ball, he'll break up play. But at Rangers, you need to be a wee bit more than that in the midfield. And that'll come, mate. He's young. We've got to remember, Conor Barron's young. So that'll come. As I said, a wee bit less half a ball. And a wee correction on the angle, and as you say, Tierney's in and goal, mate. But as I said, it's all part of development, mate. That'll come out eventually. I mean, he's surrounded with better players as we go forward. He'll improve as a player as well.
Josh, the Igaman bit near the end of the game where he had 4 folk running about him and he managed to get away from him and get a pass off. It just shows you the qualities that boy's got. Again, the right team, the right tactics, that boy's got to flourish, isn't it?
Yeah, it shows the skill, the bravery, the aptitude, and the fortitude of the individual as well. He didn't just hoof it into touch, did he, to kill time? He was actually trying to get Rangers up the field, trying to perhaps win something for them late in the game to perhaps kill a bit more at that time. But yeah, he's got it all in his hockey. I've heard him linked with teams down south as well. And they're not going to be paying peanuts either. So, that's testament to Rangers that they've gone and identified that player. They've stuck with him, tried to develop him and nurture him a little bit. And yeah, Dessers has got that jersey at the moment to start with, but you've got players like that to come on there at the end of games, like the last half an hour, the last 20 minutes when games are getting stretched, and he can open it up like that for you. So yeah, that was fantastic to see as well. Question as well for you boys. Barry left about 5 or 6 players out there. And yes, the squad's going to be a bit stretched with the injuries now. But do you think, not only on the game on Sunday, but the game next Thursday, do you think we'll sort of see a similar lineup? Or do you think, that there is going to be that natural longing to try and shake the pack up and bring some of those boys back on Sunday now? Now they've sort of had the kick up the backside by being dropped for this game. What's your thoughts on that? As Rangers people, because I'm not a Rangers person, am I? But like from your point of view.
The first person I'll take that because has just been joined with a caller is Dalmarnock. Dalmarnock, I hope you heard the question, mate. If you want to answer it, mate.
I'm going to kid on. I never heard the question. What was the question?
It was basically to see now that Barry dropped 5 people out of the squad tonight. Well, obviously.
The Aberdeen game doesn't matter. Everything's about next Thursday.
Is it a chance though for these five to come back in and try and push their name back into Barry's thoughts for next Thursday then?
I think so. You need to give them a chance, but as I say, it's Aberdeen's irrelevant. It's just getting minutes in people's legs. It's back to set to Spain in it. Set to Spain and take the prize. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I didn't fancy that team starting lineup. Them 10 men in 10 minutes. I thought this isn't going to turn it good, but we done well to a man, didn't we? They all kind of stood up, all done their bit. I thought Yilmaz was doing well. Martin Nico Williams. Then he brings Jefty on, didn't he? But obviously it's fresher legs, and again, you know what Jefty's like. He loses concentration. But what they did is they ended up putting him in the middle, so they weren't getting any joy down the line, down the sides. But all to play for, innit? Great performance, nothing each. We'd all took that as soon as that went down to 10 men. We'd all took a 0-0 because the tie's alive, innit? It's more than alive. We're more than capable. Getting away and getting through, whether it's extra time or whatever, we can do it. You know what I mean? The belief in that squad's there in Europe. Forget the league. The league's done. You know what I mean? That's just all the league they know is getting minutes in people's legs and giving other people's rest. It's probably good we're at the league because we just don't need to focus on it. You know what I mean?
I agree, Mark. If Barry's smart, he'll. I know he'll not say it in the press because it's Aberdeen and all the rest of it, but if he's smart about it and looks at how important next Thursday is still, then you would hope that he'll try and protect some of the ones that he wants to be fit and available for next Thursday. It'd be crazy to see, like I said, a lot of the, like this for talking sake, say that like Raskin goes up to Aberdeen and gets a hard challenge on him and then he misses Thursday. I would much rather that Raskin just sits this one out, to be honest, or he only plays a certain amount of minutes for the next game. We've got enough there, I think, that we'll be able to handle Aberdeen, to be fair, especially in that position.
It's a training game for us. You know what I mean? It's their big game, innit? We just need to put it as it's just a training game for us. It's a warm-up game for Thursday, as far as I'm concerned. And I get Danilo and that, get him starting. I rest Raskin. You know what I mean? Give some minutes to Diamande. As I say, it's just if they start kicking us apart, hopefully they won't. You know what I mean? And then it just, as I say, it's all about Thursday. It's all about this return leg, and it's in our hands. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. David, would you stick or twist, mate, or would you try and protect some of the players for next week?
I've got to say, I think Doman bang on there. I thought Yilmaz had a great game. I thought he was really, really impressive tonight. And then they brought on Jefty, but I think but we know the league's a bagatelle now. I mean, it's done, isn't it? We know that. The only one that will really count is the one at Ibrox when you play them, because you always want to hammer them. You know what I mean? But I think I don't know if we've got is Shooter and Diamande back for the second leg, by the way?
Yeah,
Shooter's back.
Aye.
The two
Shooter's
back.
Right,
that's good. So I just think we should. We know the league's. I mean, we could sit here at the Coos come home talking about the league, you know. I mean, it's just how we're that far behind that lot. I will never know. That's another story. So everything we've got now is going to this European quarter final. You know what I mean? It's a huge achievement, and it's another fantastic. It's another fantastic, and I know it's a not next draw, but that's a top result for Rangers tonight. People might hang me about that and whatever. That's a real top performance that for Rangers. You can't get down. Anybody goes down to 10 men against Atletico Bilbao in the Europa League. They were expected to hammer us anyway. And we went down after 10 minutes down to that, and then we played the last 10 minutes down to 9 men, and we get through that. I just think it's a real proper performance. I'm just delighted with Rangers, absolutely delighted. I agree with Domal there. I think Yilmaz was fantastic, by the way. I was really impressed with him tonight.
Let me take some of the points for David. Port, the whole team display was really, really good, but when you look across the board, the results in Europe tonight, this shows you that it says most of them were draws. It's a cagey. It's always going to be a cagey tie. This kind of first leg, isn't it?
Listen, mate. See, at this stage at any European tournament, there is no easy games. You know, look at Bodo Glimt earlier on. Lazio 2-0. Tottenham were down 1-0. They got the draw at home. And Man United ended up losing a late goal 2 each. You know, that just shows you how close this tournament is. Listen, Atletico Bilbao were expected to pepper us tonight, mate, because obviously people are looking at our form and going, you know, the final's going to be in Bilbao's ground, so everything's pointing towards them. That's why they're favourites. But we went out there the night, mate. Our goal was far from pepper. I don't remember Liam Kelly. He made saves at important times, but our goal wasn't peppered, you know, with chance after chance after chance. I thought considering everything conspired against us at the very start of the game, we stuck to the game plan. We had obviously that was set with Barry Ferguson, and then he had to react as a manager. He had to react and, you know, to proper sending off. And again, he reacted well, changed the system, and, you know, we dug out a great result, mate. You know, so like I said, there is no easy games at this stage of a European tournament, mate. But like I said in the first part of the show, we are an experienced Europa side, mate. And Valverde, the Bilbao manager, said it in his presser yesterday, we're a tough opposition to play in this tournament. He said that came from the manager we're playing against tonight's mouth. So, you know, I think sometimes we're maybe too harsh on our team, and rightly so domestically. But in Europe, Thursday nights, guys, I've been to many games with you, mate. Thursday nights are Rangers nights. They're superb. They're a different animal in Europa because the game's different. It's set up. You get more time in the ball. You know, we play it like Josh and David touched on. We play great on the counter. We sit in, we suck up teams' pressure, and we hit them quick with break. You know what I mean? So no, I'm happy, mate. As I said, we've got everything to fight for. A sunny day in Spain, and the Bears that are travelling there will go and enjoy it. And listen, Thursday night, as far as I'm concerned, I'm with you guys in regards to the game against Aberdeen. Wrap them up in cotton wool and get them ready for next Thursday.
Josh, just to get your kind of opinion, mate, like us sometimes as Rangers fans kind of take the Europa League for granted because they get into it most seasons. You see the journey that we've been on in the last few years as well. Like for yourself, like does down south maybe look at us as like in awe a wee bit in the sense that your teams maybe never get this kind of opportunity to go on a run like this each year?
Well, look at the Spurs situation. They've got to win this tournament or else Ange Postecoglou is obviously going to lose his job, isn't he? Because the position they're in the league, this is a salvaging thing from their point of view to try and get into the Champions League next year. The same with Manchester United. So the English teams see it as a different sort of opportunity, really. Like, they're not really looking at the trophy itself. They're looking at what it's going to do for them in terms of, like, from the so-called Big Six perspective. They've got to be in that Champions League, and that's giving them the ticket in. Whereas I think from a Rangers point of view, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the pressure's off Rangers at this point. Like, you know, the fans are going to go over and have a fantastic time in Spain again next week, and you know, they're coming off the back of a performance and result like that to give them half a chance as well. You know, so from a Rangers point of view, not small fry, because they proved in 2022 that once you get on a run in these tournaments, they're very difficult to beat. Backed by the Ibrox crowd and backed by several other factors, the history of the club, and you kind of name it. But yeah, you look at the likes of Bilbao as well. They've built all their success off the back of having Basque players. I remember Howard Kendall went there in the 80s. He actually left Everton to go and experience the European Cup with Bilbao. They're a massive side. Like, there's only 3 teams in Spanish football history that have never been relegated. There's Real Madrid, I think it's Barcelona, and then there's Bilbao. So that shows what a massive team they are and what a fantastic achievement in any realm that is for any kind of Rangers team. To be down to 10 men after 12 minutes and come away unscathed, boys. You have to see that as an opportunity next week. But win, lose or draw, I think since Barry's come in, they've sort of done them proud in terms of the big games, like the Celtic games, the European games. Where I've got a bit of a gripe still, it's why aren't we seeing that being transmitted on a week-to-week basis? But maybe when it resets next year, you know, they can look at, Barry might get kept on as an assistant manager or something like that. But when this big name manager, whoever it's rumoured to be, comes in, can we start afresh and see this week in, week out? I agree with one of your previous calls, actually. Like, the gap seems miles away to Celtic, but, then again, Celtic's gap to Rangers was quite wide when Steven Gerrard was there, and Big Ange Postecoglou was able to turn that round. So why not go the other way as well, boys? Why can't Rangers become the hunted rather than the hunters? Basically, is how I'm looking at it from a long-term perspective. Does that answer your question? I hope it does.
Yeah, well said, mate.
It does, mate. It was just because, like, sometimes we just expect to go into Europa League, and it's just a jolly sometimes. I mean, because there's nothing really that comes of it. But I would imagine, like, say, Everton fans and Southampton fans and that would love to have the opportunity to try and get to a European final. You know what I mean? It's as like I say, sometimes when we are getting to these stages, we should cherish it, because it might never come round again. As often as what we're seeing now. The Monarch, Barry's done his job tonight. He's got the team G'd up. They got them to show character. I do really want to see the character continue, though, mate, into Sunday. I do want to see a hard-working performance. I don't want us going up there and like I say, undoing hard work that we've seen tonight, mate, because it does create negativity. I think we need to keep the positivity going so that will help us next Thursday, mate.
I just think Europe's a different animal. I think Barry Ferguson said it. You don't need a manager to get you up for Europe, know what I mean? And all fun games either. So win, lose or draw, Saturday's, is it Saturday or Sunday? Tawdry, Sunday it'll be, won't it?
Probably Sunday,
aye. It doesn't matter. No, I mean it's all eyes on Spain. That's what it is. Everything's about Spain. It's a quarter final. You know what I mean? We're 3 games away from getting back there, which is massive in itself. It could be Frankfurt. You know what I mean? It's for a bit of revenge. That's what I'm looking for. And I know. Roll on next Thursday. Aberdeen are. They're just in the way, you know what I mean? They're just in the way. As I say, get time and players' legs and get Butland back in. See build his confidence up a wee bit. And I probably Kelly deserves to start next week after that performance tonight.
He's got the number. He's got in their heads after that tonight. That's for sure with that penalty. Anyway, that penalty.
It was bizarre. We were all going. We were wondering what was happening, and then it just said VAR. There was no feedback to the fans or anything. It's going on for ages. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it was a penalty review, and you're going, "This is how can it be a penalty review? They've just scored a goal. Was it different phases or whatever it was? What was the justification for getting the penalty and chopping their goal? What was the
handball on Sterling? But Sterling's back was, again, I think the boys tomorrow night will dive into it deeper, mate.
I think it happened. Then it moved on to different bits of play. Then they scored. I think that's what it happens, a different phase, so to speak.
Yeah,
which it should have stopped at that point. But it was mental, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Just doing it. See when they're taking that long to make the decisions, then it should just be ripped up. It should just basically crack on with the game. I mean, but I'm hopeful the boys tomorrow night will dive deeper into that. But David, mate, it's reached that time of the night, so if you want to give us your final thoughts, mate, on the night, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon, mate.
Just delighted with that performance tonight. You know, it was back to the watch times, but I wasn't overly concerned with what they put on us, you know, and you're going down to 10 men after 10 minutes. Genuinely, I fancy Rangers to knock them out. Genuinely, out in Spain. I think Rangers will batter them in the counter-attack. There you go.
Good man. Well, that says it's all to play for. Josh, mate, your final thoughts as well, mate.
Yeah, to try and keep it positive for you. I hope the fans go out there next week. I know I'm repeating myself a bit, but, you know, behave yourself, enjoy yourself. You know, really enjoy the European experience, because as a self-confessed Evertonian, you know, nights like that haven't happened at our football club for a long time, despite all the investment and all the promises. So for, you know, teams like Rangers who have been at the top of their game for so long, to keep experiencing these nights and put Scottish football on the map, that is a massive positive for your league and your club. So next week, whether you get beat, whether you win, whether it goes to penalties again, I don't know what'll happen. But the main thing is go and enjoy the experience, because Barry, since he's come in, has lifted your entire football club. Like, you think back a few months ago, you were getting results in Europe under Fleet, come on, granted, but the whole dynamic was different. Fans weren't enjoying going to games, from what I've heard from Rangers supporting mates of mine. Yeah, but now Barry's come in, it's give you that tonic and that uplift. So fingers crossed for you next week. Fingers crossed them phoning in next Thursday in rapturous mood for you, basically.
Paul, I think we'll just adopt Josh. We'll just bring him into the Rangers family, because he talks so much sense. He actually talks more sense than me.
Oh, he says he's an Everton fan, but I can tell he's getting the Rangers bug, mate. And you, Josh, you're getting the Rangers bug, mate.
I know he is definitely a blue nose man. Definitely.
Well, he's got the right colours, that's for sure.
Aye,
anyway, so that's the main thing. Right, I'll not hold him up since he's phoned in the night. Over to you, Demar, mate. Your final thoughts.
A big shout out to the crowd, by the way. The crowd was superb. It's the loudest I've heard them since 3 years ago. Since the last European run, the night they were in full voice. It was superb. Hopefully, Sterling Rice is all right. Another shout out to Kelly and Hadji, which are the two of them done well. And all I can say is, Manchester, brace yourself. We're coming. We're coming down there for the semis.
And over to you, Port Bear, mate. Your final thoughts.
Aye, mate. Cheers for having us again. Thanks to the callers. Look, that might be a wee sign, by the way. Manchester, here we come. That'd be great, isn't it? Is that a wee omen? Is that a wee sign? No, but I enjoyed the night, mate. Well dug in by Rangers. Like Look, big shout out to the fans tonight. Made that our Colden, and then obviously bringing that losing streak at Ibrox to an end finally. A wee positive. It was a draw. It's not a win, but it's definitely ended that losing streak, guys. So, onwards and upwards, and we are the people.
Well said, mate. Well said. Can I just do a big thank you to the callers tonight? This is what this show's all about: getting the opinions of Rangers fans, getting the interaction with different people. So again, thank you very much for contributing to the show. So thanks to Denver, thanks to David, thanks to Josh, and thanks to Dermot for taking the time to phone into the show and contributing to it. Brilliant. Big thanks to my mucker Port Bear, again being the wingman tonight and giving us all the statisticians and that's his keeping notes that I don't keep. So big thanks to you, mucker. And a big thanks to the boys in the background who, without them there's no show, especially at this time of night. Big thanks to Old School Blue, and a big thanks to Fox in the background there. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night talking about this match and talking about all things Rangers. Good night.